Hello everyone, my name is Snehal. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Backend Logic Made Easy. Today we will learn about what is a two-dimensional array, also called as a 2D array, how to declare a 2D array, define and access a 2D array, what is the rows and columns, how can we calculate the address of 2D array using the row measure formula. Now let us understand what is the 2D array. A 2D array is also called as array of arrays. That means each element of the array is itself another array. In a 2D array, data is stored in the form of rows and columns. Because of this structure, a 2D array looks like a matrix, similar to the table with rows and columns. This is why we use 2D arrays when we want to store a tabular data. For example, mark of students in different subjects can be stored using 2D array. Now that we understand what is a 2D array, let's see how we actually declare a 2D array and understand what is the row and columns. Let us see some one simple example. First, we declare a 2D array as integer, that means int a of 3 of and 4. This means the array has 3 rows and 4 columns. As you can see in the diagram, the horizontal direction represents row and the vertical direction represents the columns. Each element here, each element is accessed using two indices. The first index is the row number and the second index is represents the column number. For example, A of 0, 0 represents the element of first row and first column. A of 2, 1 represents the element of third row and second column here. So a 2D array works like matrix with rows and columns. Now let's see how 2D arrays store in the memory. There are two main techniques to store 2D array in the memory. The first one is row measure order and second one is column measure order. Even though 2D array looks like a table with rows and columns, memory itself is a one-dimensional. So the computer stores 2D array in a continuous memory location. In a most of programming language like C, C++, a 2D array stores row by row. This method is called as row measure order. Hmm. Look at the table. First, all the elements of the row 0 will be stored. A of 0, 0, A of 0, 1, A of 0, 2. After that, all elements of the row 1 will be stored. A of 1, 0, A of 1, 1, A of 1, 2. After that, all the elements of row second index will be stored. A of 2, 0, A of 2, 1, A of 2, 2. So the remember, memory is continuous. Data is stored row by row. This is called row measure order. In row measure order, column index changes faster than the row index. Now, now that we understand how 2D array is stored in the memory, let us see how we calculate an address of any element using row measure formula. See the formula. Address is equal to the base plus W into I into number of columns plus J. Here I represents row index, J represents the column index, and W is the size of the data type. Since we are using an integer array, the size of integer is 4 bytes. Now let us find the address of A of 1, 2. That means row index I is equals to the 1 and the column index J is equals to the 2. Assume that the base address is 1000, number of column is 3, and the size of data type is 4. Now substitute these values into the formula 1000 plus 4 into 1 into 3 plus 2. First we solve inner bracket. We get 1 into 3 plus 2 is equals to the 5. Now multiply 4 into 5. We get 20. Finally add the base address with 20. We get 1020. You can also verify this formula. Sorry, you can also verify this base address with memory diagram below. If we move row by row, then we get the A of 1 2 address is 1020. So our formula is correct. In row measure order, complete rows are stored first, and that is why the number of column is used in the formula. So this is how address calculation is work in 2D array using row measure order. In the next video, we will learn column measure order and how its formula work. Now, let's quickly summarize the important points from the video. First, the column count is very important. When we calculate the address of 2D array element, we must know how many columns are there in an array. Without column counts, address calculation is not possible. Second, this formula which we discussed works only for the row measure order. If the array is stored in the column measure order, we need a different formula which we will learn in a next video. Third, this concept is very important. It's commonly asked in interviews, especially address calculation questions. So make sure and understand these key points clearly. In the next video, we will learn column measure order. We will understand how a 2D array is stored in the column by column in memory and how its address calculation is different from the row measure order. We will also solve more address calculation problem so that you become confident in this topic. After that, we will discuss advantages of an array, also the disadvantages of an array, which are the very important for the exams and interviews. So don't miss the next video. If you have any doubts or confusion, please ask in the comments. I will try my best answers to your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone. See you in next video.